Okay, should be up. Okay, and give me a second so I can post this elsewhere.
Alright, TB, you almost ready?
Just about.
Okay.
Can we get Mountain and sorry, not Mountain. Can we get D Money and pay up in here?
I'll add them once more. Don't know where they're at. He said he'll be here around 6:30, but
All right, let me pull up my chat so I can see who's in my stream here.
does Joy have access to the document, or do we need to share screen for him?
He doesn't have access to the document yet, but I was planning on sharing that to him at the end.
Okay.
Let me pull up my chat. What's good, Roop? What is good, Jack? Good to see you guys here. Um, okay, should be ready to go. At least on my end, I'm all good. Do we have any word from D Money or Pay?
Nope. Nothing right now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, there goes my laptop heating up now. You can hear the fan. Hopefully it's not too loud. You guys can hear it, but you've got Joy in the chat. Joy, you want to give your mic a test? Make sure that's
All right.
good.
Can you hear me?
Yep,
All good?
yep,
Good.
we are all good. GM Joy has touched down. Mountain has touched down. We are waiting on our two co-hosts for anybody who's watching the stream right now. And when they show up, we will begin.
It's a good suggestion for us, but that will be brought up in a later date. Like I said before, I want to set a good foundation for the game to improve upon. Those are more like quality of life. It's a good suggestion. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but I want to address a lot of the bugs that have been ongoing along with the performance issues on console and computer. Like a lot of people want to bring up frames with PC and all that, right? I want it to be optimized for console as well, including all last gen, as much as possible. So there's less of a difference. It's not going to be dramatic, but something to where you can even the playing field. I'll keep note of that though, Frost. Also, I still hear an echo on my TV.
Oh, through my mic. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me try to fix that real quick. Go ahead and talk
I
real
want to.
quick.
Hello. No
Oh, it's
echo.
better. Oh, it's better.
That's better? Okay.
But yeah, but still hearing my voices too.
Let me ask my chat. Anybody who's watching my stream right now, is there an echo you're hearing through the video right now? Oops.
Yeah, we will be discussing that, Jai. We will.
Does
We have a
anybody
lot to say on that.
does anybody on your stream have any issues with my echo, my mic mountain? Anyone in your chat?
Anyone in chat hear an echo? I still hear mine.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate.
Somebody said there's some static. Jack said no. Okay.
What's up, Orkin?
Rube said no. Okay. As long as it's not too distracting.
Yeah, feel free to let me know if it gets too distracting on my end. I don't know if you guys are saying no, but I hear it, so let me know if you guys start to hear it, and it is annoying.
Okay. I'm really just waiting for the other two right now at this point. Okay, D Money's typing.
As much as I don't want them to interrupt, I don't want to hold people for longer than they
Yeah, I
should
mean,
leave.
we'll hear what D Money has to say. I'm sure you'll probably be ready in any second here, but if we still hear nothing back from Pay, speak of the devil, he just messaged me. He'll be he's 4 minutes out. Okay, you know what? We'll start, and they will join. We'll wait for D Money because he said he'll be right here. So we're gonna wait for one person to join, and then 5 minutes. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and start because there's still an intro piece to this, and they will join at some point right around the start. It won't be too long. But anyways, are we good to go?
I'm good.
Okay. So, welcome everybody, viewers, fellow audience members. We have a first of its kind stream going on for you here today. I've gathered GM Joy and a couple co-hosts here to discuss the game in its entirety, not just balance changes, but some gameplay mechanics, core issues we have with the structure of the game, and other things that we can go on about, because I'm sure plenty of people in the community have their opinions on the direction of the game. Before I go into my intro, Mountain, would you like to introduce yourself? Joy, would you like to say hello? We'll start with Mountain because you've got an audience there with you.
Pretty sure everyone knows that I've been pushing for a lot of this, and I'm also happy that I was able to collaborate with TB here. Right, we both were very stressed from the game, and we decided to come together on this and try to make a pretty good list of what we want to see done to the game. If you don't know me, I'm a very small creator. I've done a new player experience stream, and just my content's revolved around bringing more attention to this game and what it has to offer, whether it's negative or positive.
And it's my turn.
Go ahead.
Yes.
All right. Hello, everyone. I know. Okay. I'm not sure, but I know almost everyone know about GM Joy, and today I'm here for answering almost of question you guys feel irritating about the games, but please do not estimate a lot for me because there are a lot of things I cannot answering for you guys because I'm not a free man. I'm locked in Joy City. All right, it's all.
We understand. That's all good. We know there's a limited scope of what you may be able to address right off the top of your head. But we still appreciate your time, and it is valued. Thank you for showing up. And I believe someone just joined our VC. Is that D Money or Pay?
Yo, yo.
Hello, hello.
Oh, there's too much echo.
Echo on my
Okay,
mic?
you're all cool. So Pay has just joined our live stream here, and
Hello, everybody.
we were just doing introductions, so perfect time to join in. Pay, would you like to say hi to the audience? Let them know who you are.
Hello, everybody. I'm Pay Up, PlayStation player, and I've been playing for a while. And we got some stuff to say.
Okay, perfect. So I'll quickly give a brief on these dev talks that we have set up. Now, the purpose of these dev talks is to build a constructive bridge between the threes community, the players, and the development team, Joycity. Each discussion will focus on topics that matter the most to players. This includes gameplay, progression systems, quality of life improvements, bugs, and Joycity's overall approach to the future of the game, while also keeping in mind the business side of running a live service game. That's a big one because Joy, I've heard you say before that when players criticize the game, they often say things like the game is broken or this game sucks, without exactly explaining why. And even when they do identify exactly what problems they have, they don't have a solution in mind. And even when they do propose solutions, sometimes those solutions aren't always practical from a development or a business standpoint. Now, myself, Mountain, D Money, and Pay have spent literal hours this week digging through the exact issues we can address, in addition to making sure we come up with solutions that aren't all only effective but practical. So we spent a lot of time to make sure that the problems we bring up are not just being pointed out, but we can make up solutions to those problems that make sense for the company. And no lie, when I say we spent hours, I'll show my chat right here real quick. We spent hours, like full-time shifts this week on voice calls, just making sure we fully revise and go into detail every little thing that we bring up. Now, that being said, I do want to make clear that that won't include everything that might be on your minds. And do know that we have plans to address those topics at a later date. Our goal is to stimulate a meaningful dialogue within the company and provide a platform for community feedback while helping foster improvements for this game moving forward. Um, Again, I'll make this clear for those of you who are watching. Whatever we discuss today isn't guaranteed to be implemented, nor is it guaranteed to be done so in a quick matter. It's not guaranteed to be implemented quickly. Many of the updates we've seen in 2026 were already planned and established, months in advance. So keep that in mind. Game development tends to move carefully, especially when changes affect the core structure of a game. So we understand that the pace of change might sometimes feel slow or frustrating. I'm saying this because I want you guys to just keep in mind that the changes we bring up will be communicated within the company. They just might take some time to show up in game. As I mentioned, a lot of the stuff that we are seeing being implemented in the game today was already settled in 2025. So keep that in mind going forward. Before we get started, did any of my co-hosts have any questions, comments, or concerns they'd like to bring up now?
Good over here.
I'm good over here.
Okay.
I'm good here. Present.
Okay, so D Money just
Present.
joined. It's good to hear you, man. We were just basically doing introductions. Would you like to say hello to the audience and basically just let them know who you are, what you do, all that stuff?
What's good, people? D Money, your residential goon, big dog main, ox queenator, all that. You know what I do? I stream and I get buckets on this game. It's what I do. Just looking to make the game better in whatever way that we can. So they asked me to help, so that's what I'm doing, helping.
And it's much appreciated. So thank you for that. I believe we are ready to go. So now, without further ado, let's get started into today's agenda. So the topics we will discuss in today's live stream will center around three main points. Number one, gameplay balance adjustments. So these are character-based skills or game mechanics that can be adjusted through balance patches. Number two, technical issues and quality of life. This part will address how bugs impact the game and how the dev team should approach them. Number three, will focus on player progression. This is where we discuss features that affect rewards for grinding, account growth, and accessibility. By accessibility, we're referring to the number of possible options there are for achieving a consistent and reasonable pace of progression within the game. Please note, I'm going to make this clear. Today's discussion is not intended to be an exhaustive list of all issues within the game or even within these three topics alone. If something feels missing, it's not likely that it's been forgotten. Many topics are simply large enough that we've chosen to cover them in more focused detail in future dev talks. So it should also be noted that this live stream was planned weeks in advance. Many recent topics may not be addressed today. For example, the update that we just received that introduced Luna and Ravieta is something that we know many players have strong opinions on. We plan to dedicate time to all that in future sessions where they can be properly discussed in depth. So with only about an hour or so for today's discussion, we want to make the most of the time that we have together. If you do have questions you'd like us to ask GM Joy, we'll be holding a Q&A at the end of the stream, if time allows, where we'll take questions directly from the chat and ask him. After the stream, I'll also post a discussion thread where you guys can share any questions, comments, or concerns you'd like us to bring into future dev talks. All right. I believe that's all that needs to be said there. Let's go right into the dev talk. So, first things first, our gameplay balance adjustments. The first skill that you guys will see on your screen here, and arguably one of the biggest debated topics in the past few weeks on this game, has been floater. I have added the caveat that high floater should be included in this discussion. Now, I'll make it clear that running floater or floater fake is not included with these two. So any change that we address, we're strictly talking floater and high floater. Now, the issues players have with floater is the block window. The block window being so small that you pretty much have to predict when you're when the offensive player is going to shoot. You have to predict it in order to actually time and get a successful block on that. And this is consistent throughout all players, regardless of how high your frames are, what console you're using. It doesn't matter. This is something that all players struggle with, even at the high level. For that reason, our solution mainly revolves around decreasing the animation speed of this said skill. All we really need in order to make that adjustment effective is to make there be more frames by proxy. In other words, a longer block window is all we need in order to make the skill somewhat more balanced. Right now, the way it stands, it's very easy to get it off without having to worry about any shot blocking. And now, the reason we bring up floater and high floater and not some of the other skills is because the issue with floater and high floater specifically is that these skills can be used at a wide range. You're talking about floater, which can be used right inside the free throw line. So it basically becomes a mid-range shot that is just much harder to block at that rate. Same thing with high floater. It can be activated right in the round the same range. And that range, mind you, can also be increased. Um, for that reason, those skills specifically are the ones that we would like to address, not running floater, because running floater brings you to the rim. It brings you to the same spot every time it's activated, so it's not as much of a problem. Um, Something we'd like to bring up, however, with this point, is that there was a balance patch, a balance adjustment recently made to these skills, where if a defender is in front of the shot attempt, the success rate is decreased a lot more than before. Now we want to make something clear. This, in tandem with the animation speed decrease, uh, is not something that we want to see. And I'm gonna make the reason very clear here. It would be too much of a nerf, where now it starts to get into the range, the section where we're talking about skill that might become unusable. Uh, that's not what we want. We want it to still be a viable skill, but hear me out. Instead of making it something that decreases just by standing in front, rewarding bad defense, and not allowing an offensive player to use any fakes or any creativity on that end, make it such that that decrease applies when a defender attempts a block. So let's not remove it, but let's adjust the conditions such that when somebody jumps and times a well contested block attempt, even if it misses, that shot success rate decrease is still in effect. I think that is a fair adjustment, a fair change. When I discussed this with Mountain Pay and D Money, um, we came to agreement that that is a fair adjustment. Apply these same adjustments to high floater, but tweak the controls of high floater. Now, D Money made this point very clear. When Big Dog goes for floater, it's not necessarily a problem with Lloyd, but when Big Dog attempts it, there's a slight delay because he has an alley-oop skill. Now, for him, that's not fair. For that specific character, it's not necessarily fair to him. So make the same adjustments to high floater with a tweak to the controls. Instead of making it simply triangle or Y, make it such that high floater activates when you hold the left bumper and then press triangle or Y. This helps with characters who have alley-oops or other skills that might use the same button mapping, such that there is not a delay. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns for my co-hosts before we go on to the next skill here?
Not on my end. All's good.
I'm good.
Okay. We'll move on to number 2. Dash steal. Now, there's a lot that can be said about dash steal. It's an extremely strong skill. When used effectively, can completely dominate the game. It vastly outperforms every other steal skill. Now, in this image on the right here, you'll see a screenshot we made just to show the effective range that dash steal currently works in the game right now. These green lines that you see here on this image on my screen, these angles, this distance, is where you can use dash steal. Currently, the way the game works right now, who has dash steal? That would be Kaji and Clara and Carter. Those are the 3 characters who have dash steal at the current moment. Now we have come up with a solution for this. Reduce the angle and the distance of success. Now I'll show you what I mean by that. When we go here, you can see a clear example of an angle and a distance of which dash steal can work, and we consider too OP, too overpowered. It gets to a point where dash steal overwhelms every other steal skill. You see that steal? For those of you who just watched the clip on my screen, that is an example of an area and a range which we consider too far, too wide to get to get a successful attempt. So here's what we'd like to see. Reduce the angle and the distance of success. So this first image here, we would say that is fair play. Something like this second image, what you see here from the side, that is an area we would say is too far right or too far left if it was the other direction. We've got a very good image here for visual aid. The areas in red on this image here on the screen are areas where dash steel does not activate currently. So that's all good. The green, and you can see the green covers a wide, vast area on the court. And that's areas where dash steel currently activates and you have a chance of poking out the ball. Now just imagine you've got two of these characters, because that's what can be done. You can run two characters with the same skill, and they can cover a wide area on the court that significantly dominates the game. So our proposed change would be make the area much smaller where it actually has an effect. That area in the yellow would be the space where dash steel has a chance of success. The orange would be where it would miss. And anything outside this cone, this V-shaped cone that you see here, this triangle, anything outside would be too far right, too far left. So basically you won't be seeing dash steel used as a OP version of a shadow steel, or help defenders who are able to come in from the side and completely leave their defender and attack. All that will be significantly reduced, and thus making this skill a lot more balanced and fair when compared to other skills especially. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns there?
Nope.
Okay.
Not on my end. We're good.
Moving on, shadow block and catch. We've got a skill which is vastly imbalanced when it comes to the reward to cost proportion. There's no fair trade-off when you're actually using this skill. There's no real risk to reward ratio there. Mountain can elaborate on this point because he was the one to bring it up.
All right, so what I was suggesting is that this skill should cost stamina, right? And I'm pretty sure a lot of you and my viewers can comment too, whether if you've suffered from this. There's also an echo, by the way. Anyways, so for the distance of which you can use jump shot block paired with manual block distance, right, which a lot of people run. People like to guard the 3-point line, whether it's an SG there or PG, right, and they're still able to run into paint for a shadow block. Or even then, if you try to attempt a shot, they can still block you, right? So this creates this overpowering defensive pressure that shouldn't have been there in the first place, right? So if you were to make it cost stamina, right, it would punish the people trying to run to the 3-point line and back. That way, there's more opportunities to score. Is everyone following here or no?
I'm with you.
TB, am you following also?
I'm with you.
So yeah, that was my solution for it. It's just with Monkey, and keep in mind, right, he has the ability to catch the ball, right? How come screens, right, take stamina throughout the game? Even in OT, right, you're not allowed to use them, but Shadow Block has no limit to this, right? You can just use it throughout the entirety of the game. I feel like this is a much needed adjustment. And that's really all I have to say to it.
Okay, that sounds good to me. And sorry to anybody who might have heard an echo. I hope it's better now from your screens. Just point it out, shout, let me know if there is still a problem there. But yes, moving on forward, we're going to go right into bugs and glitches. So we know, just to hark back on this point, we know that's not all the gameplay changes balance patches that could be made that we might want to talk about. We just considered a whole lot of other possibilities, options that could be brought up in their own future dev talks. So we're going to move on to bugs and glitches here. Now, here's the thing about bugs and glitches. I thought it was important and critical enough to be brought up in its own section, and there are some core reasons for that. When it comes to competitive play, there are long-standing bugs that impact ranked mode, tournaments, and overall it degrades the competitive integrity of your game. What this does is that it affects your viewership, your ability to promote and market your game, player retention, and overall satisfaction when it comes to your audience, your consumer base, pretty much. Uh, if this is not addressed, you lack a very strong resource you have that you're able to use for promoting your game and pushing out new material and all this stuff. So here's what we would like to suggest to your company, Joy, is that when it comes to priorities with updates, bug fixes should receive greater priority over new content during updates. And on top of that, when new content is released, please try to also include new tech content, new content that revolves around optimization, for example. Something like being able to adjust the court that displays on your screen, because some people have made a note that for example, the new court that we just got in the last update, that new court is very hard on frames. It's very hard on hardware. Some people notice some stuttering, some slower effects when they load into certain areas. So let there be a default generic court that people can opt into, decide to choose, like there is a option in the in the game menu where people can disable pets if they want, for example, or even weather. That's another setting. Try to include more options for optimization. This will especially help players on older consoles and previous generations, the PS4s and the Xbox Ones. Uh, for anybody in our audience who does not know this information already, anytime you run into a glitch, anytime you run into a bug, anytime there's an issue, anything, it can be small or big, anything that you want to bring up, a fix, a solution that you might want to suggest to the devs, you can do so yourself. Here are the links. I have put them in the description of my video here, and they're on the screen right now. So you've got a website. This URL will take you directly to a portal where you can submit a ticket and have support reach you back by email. It usually doesn't take more than a few days. This is the most common method that I use for reaching out to support. Another method is through Discord. If you do have a Discord account, you're able to use their channel. The official 3-on-3 channel has a section where you can go and open up a ticket and get one-on-one support for any issue. On top of that, there is a Twitter page that the game developers will be able to reach out to anybody who contacts them, and the handle is right there at 3-on-3 Freestyle. These are 3 of the most common and easy methods to reach out to the devs. If you have another method, that by all means you can keep on using that. We just wanted to promote the 3 most common ways that people can reach out, for those of you who might not know, because I have had people say to me in the past that they are not sure how to even let the devs know that they have this issue. And one thing I've always praised Joycity for is that they're very good when it comes to reaching back. At the very least, they will be able to respond to any concerns, questions, or comments you have, and that's always been the case. So for those of you who did not know, this is something that you can use. I see your comment, stick figure, and that is something that will be addressed. As a matter of fact, in the next point, we'll make some points that directly address that. But that is a huge overarching issue that we've kind of divided into certain sections, certain parts that we will address in different dev talks, including this one. We have some points on that. Is there, before we move on, is there any questions, comments, or concerns from any of my co-hosts here on bugs and glitches? Anything that I said?
No, sir.
Nothing from my end now.
Okay, I'm going to move on. Now, the third part of our discussion, and what's going to probably take the most amount of time, is the game economy and player progression. Now, this is a big one. This is going to take the this is what took the meat of our discussions, the meat of the majority of our discussions in the voice calls that we had earlier this week. Starting with
Yep.
P buffs. Now, currently, the progression system in place for P buffs locks progression behind red points. These are these lock essential buffs that are required to complete the game. These tickets are essential, pretty much. If you want to progress in the game and compete at a high level, you need them. You've got stuff like normal moving speed, shot success rate, jump shot block, rebound, even. All critical stats that are necessary in order to compete at a high level. And not even at a high level, at a certain level. Once you get past level 20, level 30, you start running into players who have these abilities already stacked up. So if you're not following along and if you're not in the system, you're missing out significantly. So our solution to this specific problem is that P buff tickets should be included in events much more frequently so that players have a consistent way to acquire them through gameplay alone. We don't want to see events that pop up in the shop and offer 100 P buff tickets for, 100p and call it a day. That is not a solution. Let's make something clear. Paid solutions are not solutions. We are talking about making these more accessible to the wider player base as a whole. There's already an RNG element to these tickets that make you go burn through a lot of them at once, and that's not to even talk about trying to test out different builds or swap out P buffs. We're strictly talking about the use of them already takes up so much. So the ability to acquire them definitely needs to be improved significantly. And events is a huge way you can do that. We're talking daily events, free to play events, not stuff that you have to pay for. Number 2, blue coins. Now, here's an issue with blue coins. The acquisition amount, basically the amount that you actually acquire and get compared to the price of these items, makes them very undervalued, significantly so. On top of that, they are very limited in the items that they actually allow a user to purchase. A lot of items in the game are not able to be purchased through blue coins at all. So it kind of ruins the points of grinding for them. Pei, you said you wanted to interrupt.
Yes. I would like to go back to the P buffs real quick. I honestly think the chance to get the exact same skill after re-rolling it multiple times should not be a thing. I think you should be guaranteed to get a new P buff every time you use a ticket. That's just where I stand on that.
I'm in agreement. I mean, I find it annoying that whenever I use 20 to 30 tickets at a time, since it's so RNG, that I just keep getting the same thing. I have a clip also of me getting bounced 3 times whenever I'm trying to get rebound on a certain character. It just seems like a
Hmm.
More of an annoyance and inconvenience that players shouldn't have to deal with.
Especially because P-Buff tickets are so rare to get unless you spend money.
I agree with that.
Definitely so, for sure. That being said, this solution is not an end all be all. It is one part. We have suggested to this specific problem the fact that they are not easy to acquire. Like that's the main thing. There are many issues when it comes to the actual use of P buffs, and how much they cost and all that other stuff. These are topics we absolutely have kept in mind. Don't you fret. Don't worry. We discussed them, but for this specific problem, this problem of how you acquire them, um, we are suggesting for that make them more frequent in events and rewards, such that you can acquire them through gameplay alone, on a more frequent basis, on a weekly basis, similar to how intensive notes are able to be acquired. Um, so that was the point on P buffs.
Indeed.
Okay, so moving forward, we're gonna go on to blue coins here. Um, when it comes to the acquisition amount, uh, it doesn't match with the price of blue coin items. For example, pet skill change tickets cost 15,000 blue coins. Now that's a whole lot. We're going to get into some math down here later on just to show exactly how much it costs to grind for some of these items in real hours. So the value of blue coins is been significantly depreciated over time. Um, Now, how can we solve that? There are multiple ways we can do this. Number one, release more coin buff balls through events, rewards, etc. And not just that, but keep in mind, coin buff balls, we'd like to see them come with higher percentages too. For the longest time, I've only seen coin buff balls with 100% buff attached to them. I have not seen a 200% or a 300% coin buff ball in quite some time. We'd like to see those again. That is something that we are missing out on, especially newer players who might have never seen those balls before. Um, Now, number two, make items acquirable through red points and blue coins. So give us an option to spend either our blue coins or our red points. For example, this has happened in the past with P7 potential beads that used to cost 10,000 blue coins, but now are strictly red points. Keep in mind, what that means is that it takes 12 court events to max out a P7 tree. That is too much. I think we can all agree, come to a census here, that if you are playing the game and trying to stack up resources and grind, the amount of court events you'll have to partake in and fully invest your time and complete, max out in order to get a max P7 tree, it takes you 12 of those events. And I'm not even sure we see one a month. So that's pretty much longer than a year of waiting. That's too much. That is not something that we consider fair. Now, all this being said, how do you keep red points still worth more than blue coins? Because we believe that distinction is still important. We want to keep that in place. We want to keep that intact. Um, because blue coins might be able to be used to purchase the same items as red coins, something that we'd like to see is that the red point price be slightly adjusted such that red points now go further than what they currently are. So, Mountain, if I see your highlight there, if we're talking about P buff tickets and potential reset tickets, let's leave them unchanged. We debated the prices of those P buff tickets at 10 and then potential reset tickets at 20 red points. We don't consider too big of an issue. But intensive skill balls, the red balls that is, um, give us a coin price to those. 20,000 blue coins is something that we debated on and come to agreements to. With that blue coin price being an option, reduce the red point price to 10 red points. This incentivizes people to still use their red points on these items, and gives them that option that is viable. Because some people, if you're sitting with 90 red points in your account, you might be looking at that and say 15 is too much. I'm just going to grind for the coins instead. Reducing the price would make red point spending a little more attractive and a little more attainable. Now, potential beads is another item that we consider can and should be adjusted. Right now, it costs 15 red points for one bead. And keep in mind, you need 6 beads to even unlock one slot within a P7 tree. Now, that is way too much. By all our approximations and arguments, we all agree that that was too much. We're suggesting a significant decrease to that price. Make it at 5 red points per potential bead. Now, we're not going to attach a blue coin price to these just right now, but because that's the case, the red point price does have to decrease significantly. Now, keep in mind, what these changes would mean for the red balls, it would mean that 310 red points are required to max out a P7 skill. And for the potential beads, you'd need to spend about 300 red points for 60 of them. So basically to max out a P7 tree. That is a rate and a ratio that we consider reasonable. We consider achievable. If you look at the in-game methods of actually getting your rewards and how you're rewarded, one triple S season gives you 350 P points, and that's it. I think double S would be 150, and then single, 1S, if you're single S, it's just 50 points. If you're talking about a triple S player needing to get that every single ranked season just to be able to have the option of acquiring one of these, maxing out one of these options, you're still talking about a grind. So it's still there. It just becomes slightly more attainable. So that is a change we consider reasonable, and we are arguing for here. Now, if you use our proposal, let's do some math here real quick. One red point would be equivalent to 2,000 blue coins. So currently the ratio is 7 red points for every 4,000 blue coins. This is referenced directly from the shop. If you go to the shop and you try to purchase any blue coins with your red points, you'll see that 7 red points costs will give you 4,000 blue coins. So that ratio we consider a lot more unfair than the one that we're proposing, 1 red point for every 2,000 blue coins. That's something that's achievable, attainable, and something that we consider reasonable. The 7 red points for 4,000 blue coins, however, let's just do the math on that real quick. How attainable is that 4,000 coins under the current conditions? Well, the way things stand right now, a win grants a base amount of 270 blue coins. All right, and a loss, 230. So let's just assume that an average match will take 7 to 8 minutes. A player would need to spend 2 hours of real time, of real life, sitting there playing the game, 2 hours without a loss, just to get 4,000 coins. That sounds ridiculous to me, in all honesty. And keep in mind, that's an average of 7 to 8 minutes. Most matches typically last around 10 and more. Now, we said 2 hours without a loss. Keep that in mind. That's another caveat to this argument. On top of that, that's excluding the time it takes to queue, dead ball time, halftime, timeouts, anything else that could delay the game. That is excluding all of that. So when we say 2 hours without a loss, it is a generous assessment, because in all actuality, it takes longer. So going back to that blue coin point, that argument, making them more accessible, making red points more valuable, by making them go longer, increasing their purchasing power, is something we consider a fair and right balance for the game going forward. There are any points there that my co-hosts wanted to touch up on?
Nothing at all.
No, all good with me.
For the buff ball situation, obviously with the buff balls being hard to get and only really old players having them, I feel like with maybe potentially if they do have a future change of making buff balls more accessible, if they're going to keep them at 100%, I feel like you should have a way to combine multiple balls and making them worth more, so you can use one for a higher percentage instead of having to wait days just to use another one.
Oh, real quick, I'm glad you brought that up, hey. Because that leads me into the XP balls. Because I know a good bit of us are stockpiling those. So if you're sitting at level 100, you just basically have a bunch of XP balls just sitting at it. If there's a way that we can either convert those into coin buff balls or sell them, worst case scenario, that would be a benefit too. Or even if not, just can we gift them to other players who may need them?
That too.
I like those points that you guys brought up. But yeah, overall, Joy, what we're saying here is that the blue coins are significantly undervalued, and they are not able to be attained at the rate that we consider fair. And when we do the math behind it, it really maps out our argument. We have a point to our argument, is what I'd like to say. So when you bring this up, please keep that in mind. We don't consider paid solutions to the problem. We don't consider those real solutions, because if you're not able to play the game and get what you want, then and your only option otherwise is to pay, then we don't consider that an actual fix to the problem. So that's the main thing we'd like to address there. If that's the point that we'll make, let's move on to ability cards. Now, we'll touch on gold ability cards first. Now, 50 pack costs 300p, the way that things stand right now. Building a desired preset often requires multiple packs. Like P-Buff tickets, these packs should be made easier to obtain. Now, that can be events, like we suggested with P-Buff tickets. That can be, options to actually purchase them with blue coins. Whatever it is, they need to be made easier to obtain. The gold box, to reflect the red point price adjustment that we brought up before, adjust the price for the gold boxes from 6 to 5 red points. I know this might be a touchy subject, because especially when it comes to ability cards, these are a huge moneymaker from the business aspect of things. But again, keep in mind, what is this? What is the conditions that we have set for this conversation, for this argument here? Well, that's based on the fact that blue coins are a lot more accessible. You're able to buy things with your blue coins now, and all these items that used to cost red points are now a little cheaper with red points than they are with blue coins, such that it entices you to actually spend your red points somewhere where you otherwise might not be spending them. So for a gold box, if it's going to be locked strictly behind red points, that's fine. But let's also make an adjustment in the price there so that it reflects the change that we suggested for the other items above. Now, silver boxes. These are significantly worse than the gold packs, to the point where they basically become pointless for most users. How can we increase their value? That's an argument. That's a point that we were going to try to make here. If we increase the value of silver packs, you open up more options for players to spend. And when they spend their resources, you've got more incentive to grind. Now, one thing we can do is make them cheaper. So the silver packs right now sitting at 39,500 blue coins for a 50 pack. We cut that in half, that's still just about 20,000 blue coins for a 50 pack of silvers, mind you. These are silver cards. So that is a change that we consider reasonable. Now, add a level up system to these boxes so that the silver boxes can be upgraded up to a level 10 that gives you the drop rate of a gold 1 box, or maybe slightly below. But any way that it comes, make them somewhat more valuable. Reduce the price, make them upgradable so that people have got a reason to actually spend their blue coins there and have a reason to grind for those blue coins. That is the point to be made on silver boxes. Any questions, comments, concerns there?
Nope.
No, sir.
Okay.
Nothing.
We will move on. Now, for viewers at home, the rest of this document is going to be very rough draft. We were really working on this all the way up until the final last minute here. So half of this is still in the rough form, but we'll discuss it regardless. We'll go through each point as is. Do any of you want to take the lead on the red point quests?
I can get the other half of it if you can just cover a bit.
Okay. So, accessibility for new and returning players. When we are talking about red points, right? We haven't actually addressed how to make those more accessible. We did that for the blue coins, but how can we do the same for red points? Now, keep in mind, you're only guaranteed a consistent 4 red points a day. That is already on its own very frugal, very hard for players to stack up over time. Now, here's one change we'd like to suggest. Swap the rewards from the play together quests and the solo quests. What that means is basically the red point quests that you need to play with somebody to obtain, make those rewards, those point rewards, attributed to the solo quests. So anybody who's starting the game off brand new has a chance to actually obtain these rewards and grind these quests by themselves, even though they might not have friends, they might have not met people on this game yet that they can reach out to and complete these quests on a consistent basis. It helps people get more easy access to these rewards that are crucial, they're vital. And we're not suggesting that you remove the play together quests. I think it's nice that you incentivize players to join teams, to line up and go for those. But the issue is that the red points are hidden behind those quests. So that locks out a significant portion of players, namely new players, newcomers, and anybody who just doesn't have enough friends on their list to play the game with on a consistent basis. It makes it more accessible to all users. Plain and short. Now, we'd like to also make an argument for something else. Increase the rate of gain per day. We don't think 4 is enough. Everything costs red points. Everything. Let's keep that in mind. Increasing the price of anything else with the increase of frequency that you get red points would be a net zero in progress. You can't increase the price of everything else that comes in the game and increase the rate of which you obtain red points. That just would not get us anywhere. So what we're trying to make clear is that red points should be easier to come by, and come in larger amounts without inflating rather, the prices of everything else. Now, what's the amount that we discussed and debated on? We came to 10 red points a day for daily quests is an amount that is achievable and reasonable. Now, there will have to be some adjustments made if that's the price that we're going to leave them at. The red point prices that we listed before, the adjustments that we made, those reflect this change here, this 10 red points that we have stated. We kept that in mind when we said that, skill training balls should be brought down to 10 P points a day, 10 P points for a red ball, or 5 P points for a bead. We kept that in mind when we um, stated 10 red points is the amount that we think should be allocated. But that being said, the character price is one area that we do believe would be necessary to inflate in order to keep up with the uh, red point inflation here. So we'd like to jump that from 99 P points for a point character to 150, if and only if you increase the acquisition rate such that instead of 4 consistent red points a day, it becomes 10. Under that system, you could unlock a red coin character in 15 days. Currently, under the current system, it takes 25 days. So it's not too much of a change, but it does make it also easier to unlock new characters, red point characters for your P points, pretty much. Mountain, do you want to take reign on the next part here?
Yeah, so give me 1 second. So what I was suggesting, and through my experience with my free-to-play series, is that I fear that a lot of people coming into the game don't really have a full understanding of what the game has to offer in terms of skill-wise and character-wise. So what I want to suggest is have all of the characters that cost coins, like at this very moment in time, right, which would include the Big Dog, Lulu, Murdoch, and so on, right, to be available at the start. That way people can mess around with different characters. And I want to bring this up also. Like, if you make the decision for players, right, that they should be only limited to Clark, right, that's really going to tighten their view of the game. Like, what if somebody wants to be a defensive forward, right? Or maybe just be a bit more offensive, shoot mids, right? Why would you limit them to just Luther when you can make them maybe a big dog, right? Maybe they want to pass, or maybe they want to stretch with a center, you know? So what I'm suggesting is just to make it all available at the start of the game. The moment that you install, you have access to all 15 of the characters. And moving forward, right, it's a little bit off this point, but I would like to suggest a way to where you have like this rotating system with characters. We know that you've made a great change to the game where previous characters like Big Joe, Camilla used to cost them real money, USD, which would be around like 12.99, right? We want to suggest a rotating thing for premium characters like Lloyd, Blair, and Sienna, right? Once they've reached 3 in each position, right? So let's just say another center were to release that is also premium. The oldest one, which would be Lloyd, would be converted into a red point cost. That way, more players have access to it instead of relying upon events that Joycity decides to release whenever, right? This way, people have an understanding, hey, right, things are going to be red points. I'm going to save up for this, or, I don't have to wait on an event that could take potentially 6 months to release.
Yeah, pretty much. And
Let me see, premium characters. And then for the point characters, right? When this happens from the transition from premium characters to red points, right? We want the oldest red point character to then be the grindable coin characters, right? So a maximum of 6 red point characters, and then the oldest one would be the new coin character like Lee is right now. So Krista, since she's the oldest center, would be costing 15,000 coins. I would also like to suggest that, but for every position. BioMo, what I'm talking about. Any questions from co-hosts or Joy?
None for me.
Yeah, all good.
Okay. All right, so moving forward, right? Another issue that I had during my series is that I feel like when you enter the game, you're very limited on what you can do, right? So I'll give you an example. When I was playing a Nathan on my free to play account, right? I could not do anything besides pass. I had no P buffs, nothing, and I was only limited to 3 skills, which was to dribble, dunk, and pass. And the way that things are structured within this game, right? We have people who can run so fast and guard 2 people effectively, right? I have nothing. So basically, I'm just sitting in the corner having the pass since I have no quick points, nothing, and have barely anything to work with. So what I'd like to suggest is that all the skills be available at P1. But with this change, we're also suggesting that the skill level is capped out and locked by prestige. So you may have all these skills at level 1, or P1, my fault. But the moment you prestige 2, you can level up the skill to level 2. And then all the way to P5, I think it should be self-explanatory, right? Once you hit P5, you would unlock 5, 6, and 7.
Can I interject here, Mountain?
That would be the incentive to prestige, while also giving people who may not be at P5 yet a way to still score and participate within the game instead of feeling left out. Any questions about that? Any additions to it?
So I'm just gonna hark back to this the same point that you made here. So the change that we've made, the change that we've wanted to propose is to make all all the character skills available at P1. There are 2 methods that we came up with to implement this change. Regardless of the method, all skills would be locked behind the character prestige. Because we have to keep in mind, because you're unlocking all this character skills at P1, it kind of removes the incentive to prestige a character at a certain point. We want to keep the incentive there. We want to make sure that when something gets removed, there is also an additive. So the skill levels will be the parts that now are locked behind prestiges instead. Method 1 would suggest that all skills become level 5. Um, this would make the intensive skills more valuable as they are the only P7 skills in the game. Skill training balls would still need to be used to level up, however, the price of leveling up would increase. So instead of the increments that they are at right now, it would go by 4, 8, 12, and 20. So levels 2 through 5 would be remapped. But in the same stretch, level 7 skills would be remapped. So because everybody gets a level 5 skill, we don't want there to be any unintentional nerfs because of that. So all we would say is that those level 7 skills, whether level 6 gave more distance and level 7 gave more more range or whatever it may be, just map that out to 5 levels instead. So map it out evenly. That means each level that you increase would just give you more of a buff than before. For characters with unique skill upgrades, for example, there are characters who give instead of drive speed on a crossover skill, they give an extra dribble drive. And for some characters with dunks, dunk at will, they have dunk animations that are special to them. For example, Clark has the short distance jungle. These skills would still be unlocked under the system, but they would just be revealed as pop-ups. So during the prestige screen, if you're looking at my section here, you've got a screen here that shows you rewards when you prestige a character. Under this system, all that would change is that the short distance jungle and say crossover dribble +1, those effects, which would still show up, they'll just show up on this screen. So instead of the skill screen, it would show up here, and everybody would have a a level 5 skill. Now, that's one method of implementation. Method 2 would be making all skills level 7. So regardless of who the character is, boost them up so that they are all to level 7. This is important because there are some characters still to this day with level 3 skills, especially old characters. Now, there's no reason a Kim, for example, should have a level 3 quick jumper where we've got, characters with level 5, level 7 quick jumper, and we call Kim a shooter. So let's make sure we balance that out. So if the first version of implementation requires too much math, it might be too complicated to remap all the level 7 skills down to level 5. Let's make all skills level 7 then. Let's just keep it as is and just boost the skills. Now, with that being said, level 5 through 7 would be unlocked at P5. This would add a little extra bonus to Prestige 5, which I believe is a good thing, a good incentive. With this system, however, level 1 skills, we got to make something clear. We want level 1 skills to simply be level 1 skill acquired. There should be no skills that say level 1 plus 3 centimeter distance. There's sneaky ways that Joycity gets away with power creeping old characters and older skills, and it goes further than some people might realize. For example, we've got two screenshots here. One is an example of Kaji's manual block, and the other is Jack's manual block. Now, aside from the fact that Kaji has 2 extra levels, you can also see that at level 1, Kaji gets an extra 3 centimeters in distance, where that was not a thing for Jack. Murdoch is another character, for example. Now, there's no reason that Kaji, although he might be a defensive character, there's no reason that he, as a point guard, should have a better manual block stat than a defensive power forward. That, to me, is ridiculous and something that does need to be changed and addressed, and can be with these implementations, these methods that we have uh, promoted, put out. So I'll let you take lead for the next point here, Mountain. But I just wanted to make clear we've brought up 2 methods of implementation. Regardless of which one you decide to go with, pick whatever's easiest. But just keep in mind, one major thing we'd like to see done for these is that um, the skills all become balanced throughout. So nobody's manual block is significantly better than another character's manual block simply because they're a new character. That is an unfair advantage that should be addressed.
All right, should I start? All right, I will start. So, I find it annoying personally, and anyone is feel free. You can feel free to comment on this, right? But when they release events for this game, along with the cumulative point event, right, where you spend money and all that, I don't like it when they are giving you tickets for characters that you may not have invested in, or you may not have. So, for example, right, I'm gonna go to the court event that's released right now, right? By the way, this also applies to the cumulative spending event, right? I would like to obtain growth or selectable growth tickets and not have to be limited by these decisions. What if I don't play these characters? How am I going to progress in this game? There's no current way to obtain gold packs consistently, right? And this event, which is accessible to everyone, isn't accessible, right? Like she may have released along with Ravietta, right? But I do not have these characters. They're $12.99. What if I don't want to spend the money? There is no way for me to progress because of this blockage that is unnecessary. So we would like to make the change for it to be selectable and it to not interfere with free to play events or standard events, which would mean login events too. Like this, for example, right? Just make them selectable silver packs and selectable gold packs. That is all that we're asking, so the progression isn't hindered. Do you want to take the rest, team?
I got it.
I'm not sure if I covered everything.
I got it. Oh, that's good. So, just as Mountain said, certain events, there's no reason for them to be character limited or character specific. For example, payment events, if you're trying to incentivize people to spend money, out of all events, these events should be generic. I mean, above all, you're rewarding people for directly spending money, how much they spend in the game. But the reward you're giving them might not be applicable to their account at all. So something like the payment events, instead of character or position specific rewards, make those generic. When it comes to login time events, same thing. These are events that, regardless of what character you have unlocked, what position you main, any of that stuff, these login events and special login events, they affect everybody and anybody who plays, whether you're level 5 or level 90. You experience them at the same rate. You get the same rewards. So for these events that affect everybody at every level, these should be the generic rewards that people can use in any way, any which way that they'd like. Now, certain events, for example, the court events, that might be a little different. When it comes to court events, geez, I tried moving an image around and it messed a whole lot of things up on my screen. But when it comes to court events, this is a screenshot on my, if you're watching for my stream, this is a screenshot of the current court event that is active. These events can only be unlocked by playing specific characters. Now, court events, I don't necessarily have as much of a issue with when it comes to position specific court events for those in particular, but they should still be generalized. So instead of being character specific, if you want to make those position specific, then okay, we might be talking. But it does suck when you have to get 5 blocks with Vandal, and it's a power forward who does not even have a great block stat to begin with. If that, instead of 5 blocks with Vandal, was 5 blocks with a power forward, you've now enticed more people to pay attention to your events and incentivize them to actually spend their time grinding those events. They don't feel as useless to a majority of players. Bonus shop rewards, on the other hand, should include generic growth tickets instead of character specific ability card growth tickets. So when it comes to the quests, those can be position specific. We don't really mind. But for the bonus shop, again, those rewards should be something that is generic and entices all players, regardless of who you are, to play. Any questions, comments, or concerns there?
No comment.
No, sir.
Okay, I'll move on. Now, websites containing item information, stats, RNG rates. So this part right here is talking about, for some of you who don't know, everything in the game has pretty much everything has a separate website dedicated to it that you can go to and look at all your items and the drop rates and skill descriptions, all that stuff. It's listed somewhere. The issue is that list is not easy to come by. Not a lot of people know exactly where to look. Now, all these key details and pertinent information that are hidden behind links and buttons that people might not even be aware of, these should be integrated directly into the game and made easily accessible through dedicated menus, item descriptions, or even, for example, the item showcase. Now, item showcase is something that you will see with the pets. When you go to a gold pet box, for example, or whatever it's called, current kennel, if you go there, you can go to item showcase, same thing you can do with outfits, and then you can see exactly all the pets that can come from a gold box. Now, that is a very poor use of a resource, because instead of just having a 3D model of a pet, that's somewhere where you could put the exact skills. You could list out the skills that the pet has, like that the pet boosts, and some of the other information that you have on websites just put that information into the game. Put it natively into the game. So, for example, ability card info. That's a button, a section in the game that not too many people look at. But when you press it, it opens up this website, and that's a URL. That's a web page that anybody can visit at any time. But for console players especially, that link, that URL, is much harder to come by because you're using a console, a browser that's based on a console, and you have no way of really noting exactly what that website is. So all this information, this basic information, this useful information, should be made much more easy to access and put natively into the game. That is our final point here for today. Is there anything that anybody wanted to hark back on for any of those points?
Nope.
No.
For me, real quick, just get back to the car along with the link thing. I know they did put in um, on the stat screen where it kind of explains what each stat does, but can we also have something to where we can something that explain what some of these cards do, especially some of the newer cards like the Imped Invalidity and there's a couple other cards in there. Uh, what's that? What is it? It's on the drinks. It's the collision cards. Something that just helps explain, because if you're a newer player, you're not going to know what half these cards do outside of the obvious, which like normal movement speed, jump shot, block, 3-point success rate. We all know what those do, but for the cards that people don't really run as often, something to explain what those are. The invalidity cards, defense resist, defense block resist, defense block success, like those type of cards. The collision cards, something that explains those as well too.
For sure, I think that's a good point that you made there, D Money, because there are stat descriptions when it comes to the, individual stats that all characters possess. What possess, whether that's 3-pointer, whether that's steal, whether that's block, jump shot block. You have stat descriptions for each one of those, but not
Mhm.
necessarily something that does that for ability cards in detail. So that's a good addition that can be made. Thank you for bringing that up. Is there anything else that anybody wanted to mention?
Nothing.
Okay. How are we doing on time here, Joy?
No problem.
No problem? Okay.
Yep.
In that instance, this live stream did go slightly longer than I anticipated, but regardless, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. What we're gonna do now is quickly turn the mic to you. Anybody in the audience in the live stream chats here who have any questions, comments, concerns that you'd like to be made, and we can ask or forward directly to Joy right now, we will do so for you. Um, there is a question that I asked Joy in private for those of you watching, asking, does the height/weight of a character affect the game? That is an answer that I haven't got yet. Just letting you know, so that when I do get an answer, I will have a discussion post put up for you guys. I wanted to know exactly how it affects speed, balance, shot contest rates, all that sort of stuff. And side note, we know that Lloyd's passive has something to do with height. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking in general. So that's an example of a question that I personally posed to Joy, and we'll be hearing an answer from shortly. I'll be expecting that at some point when he's able to get in contact with the appropriate team member. But any of you in the audience, any questions, comments, or concerns that can be made, Mountain, I'm going to pass the mic to you because I know you've got a lot of viewers there with you right now who might be saying stuff.
So, does anyone have any questions to what we were suggesting? Any needed clarification? I see a lot of other suggestions. I see some of you guys agree, but maybe just to check in, is anyone confused about what we suggested? While I wait for that, what about you, TB? Anything on your end?
On my end, so there are some people who were saying things in chat here earlier in the discussion that I did not address then, which I will give time to now. Some user did bring up the fact that they would like to see an increase in the overall user level. So it's right now capped at level 100. They'd like to see that be increased if possible, maybe something like 200, 300, so that, level 200 or 300 would be something that older players have another thing that they can work towards. All this, everything that we suggest is to incentivize people to play the game. Why should they actually care? Why should they be bothered to spend their time? And I think that is a very good suggestion that can help bring a lot of older players and veterans back into this game.
I would also like a question for Joy. I don't know if you have an answer to this, but is there any reason why some tournaments are held on East aside from West? Is there any complication with that you can clarify upon?
Oh, about this. Okay, this is question for me. Is it right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is kind of like complicated problem for us to select which district should be held about the 3 NA tournaments, but um I'm not the one who worked for long in the 3 project, so I only can answer in in my perspectives, and I can say in the East, there are more players, like more than multiple players when it comes to compare with West. And as a company's opinion, they need to hold the tournament in the wide people, like wide players place.
The
Is
majority.
it? Yeah, majority. That's correct. So they selected to like proceeding the tournament at the East Coast.
I see.
I
I
mean,
see.
That makes
I
sense.
understand that point. It makes a lot of sense, but at the same time, we have every single other server within this game getting a tournament, and it doesn't really make sense why it can't be on West because there is a wide amount of West players, and there's also a lot of West players who like to be competitive. They want to join tournaments, and they don't really get the opportunity to like perform, especially if they play big. Because I don't think anyone would want to play big with 100 ping or 130 ping. However bad their ping is on a different server. And there is a lot of West people that go to the East Side for tournaments and they are forced to play small even though they are big mains. I just feel like opening the
Yeah.
opportunity for West people to have their spotlight, even for just one tournament, would be really good. And I feel like
Hmm.
people who have not got to be in a tournament due to that would appreciate the game a lot more.
Yeah, that is really reasonable opinion, and I totally understand that because, as you guys know, GM Joy also started playing Zero and Three a lot. Because same as you guys can see, I already participated in the tournament, and also I played in West, East, and Europe, Asia, all the servers at every weekend to know how you guys playing the Zero Three. And at this moment, I totally understand that the ping is really a huge, like how can I say, like huge things for players feeling, and it makes someone really competitive and also makes someone plays awful just by the ping, the
I
connections.
see. So you're saying
Yeah.
that you acknowledge the ping advantage that people have in certain servers, right?
Yeah, actually, in the case of NA East and West, there are like a lot of gaps between them. So in this case, I will
Yeah.
ask the other teammates and also with the like managers about what about we try to doing our next tournament on the West side too, like because they need a balance, not only playing in the East, because same as you told me, there are a lot of players in the West Coast too. Yeah, that's really reasonable opinion. I'll try to
Mhm.
send them.
Thank you. I will
I
also
was
like to bring up to. Oh, you can go ahead.
I also have another question. Is there a reason or is there a plan to bring back Winter and Summer League?
Yep.
Oh, this, this is really difficult question for me because after I joined the Student Street project, there were no leagues, summer and winter leagues, and I didn't know about that until the players told me about the leagues. Because as I heard, that league is something like when you play games more and compete with others about how long you play and then get the reward. Is that right?
Yes, he would receive rewards
Yeah,
like
Yeah.
intensive manuals, red points, and skill
Mm,
balls. So it would be around
it's
10 to 15 manuals too.
essentially
yeah.
what it was like an event that lasted what roughly a month or two,
Mm,
and basically what it was is you had to reach a certain amount of wins within that time period, and you would get a set amount of rewards for that. Essentially, like 10 to 15 intensive manuals, about 120 give or take P points. But if
mm,
you were one of the top players in winter and summer league, you got additional P points. I want to say like what was it like top one, two, and three? I think they got what like was it like 1,000, maybe I think more than that P points on top
yeah.
of all the other additional rewards.
Mm. So, what can I say? I'm sure that if I say anything about this question, you 100% of the students players will mad at my answering, but I try to be brave. I try to be brave and try to say something about that. So, the conclusion is our like a business manager, which is my same as my position, want to change the environment of the pain. You understand what I mean? Like they don't want,
Yes.
yeah,
I
they
do.
don't want to see something like freely players get freely achievement from the event a lot. That is the reason why all of the guys always says we are pay to win games, and I also agree with it. It's too much for players to paying to enjoying the game. So yeah, the
Can I
So
reason
to
is
clarify,
that.
can I speak up here? Sorry
Mhm.
to interject. Is that
Mm.
all right?
You're good.
I just wanted to say Summer League, Winter League, I mean Mountain D Money and Pay, you know this, but we had as a whole section for a future dev talk, and the reason being is because this topic we have a lot of points on. Like there is a argument to be made, Joy. I understand what you're saying, but there's an argument to be made when you remove these things from your game, you reduce the incentive for people to actually play your game, and that is a very huge point that needs to be addressed. And not all of it can be, gone through right now, but I just want you to keep in mind when you do say, I know it's not your decision at the end of the day, of course, I'm not putting that on you, but when you do say things like, your boss doesn't want to make it as easy, perhaps, to acquire all the things a player might need without incentivizing them or edging them, pushing them towards spending at all. I get that from a business perspective, but at the end of the day, you need players in order to have a game, and if you don't
Yeah,
have
that's right.
players, you don't have a game. And here's my
Yeah,
argument. Here's my point. Would you rather incentivize a small group of 30 players who are willing to spend $100 on your game and when you'll stick through thick or thin, regardless of what comes and goes? Would you rather have 30 elite players who will spend $100 every 2 weeks, or have 300 players who will spend $10 every 2 weeks? I argue that the 300 players is a much more valuable audience than the 30 elite, because here's the issue with 30 players. If you have a, and it's just an example, but if you have a smaller player base who makes up a vast majority of your revenue, well, if one of those players decides to leave or stop playing the game or for whatever reason, um, just walks away. You suffer a whole lot more than you do with a wider audience. And keep in mind, the wider audience, it's not just 300 players who are spending on your game, because it's made much more accessible and you've given them more incentive to actually play and more things to do. It's not just 300 players from that bracket. That's not where it ends. You're talking 300 players who, like me, might decide to pick up a mic, open their big mouth, and start streaming this game or start talking about it and promoting it to an audience who might have never experienced this game before or never heard of it. That's 300 new players, 300 new opportunities. You open the door for that to happen. Who could go ahead and bring more players in? That's 300 more players who somebody might say to their friend, "Yo, I just downloaded this game. It's free to play. You know, it's nothing to lose. I just started playing and it's fun. Do you want to join me? It's called 3 on 3." That's 300 more opportunities you introduce to your system for that to occur. And every time you remove incentives, this is not just Summer League and Winter League, but anytime you remove something like ranked rewards, like name tags, trophies, pets, anything that incentivizes a player to
Yeah,
actually
I
stay
was
in
gonna
your
get to
game,
that.
anything that they work for and actually love about the game, anything that's taken out, you just are incentivizing them to leave. You're giving them a reason to not stay. And the more people you kick out that way, the less of an audience you have. Those 30 people who will stick by and spend as much as it takes to max out their accounts, they're going to stay regardless. Like this game, if it was going to die completely, it would have happened already. So this game will have a base, a player base at the very minimum. But would you rather have a game where, I log in like I did last night and 5 games in a row I get the same bloody team? Or would I rather have a game where I see a new matchup every time I log in? There are no dead zones, dead times within the server. I can log in late at night and I don't get a bot lobby after waiting for 5 minutes. These are the issues that naturally resolve themselves when you add incentive and increase the things that players actually want. Add the things that we want back into the game. So these are huge points, huge topics that we did not address in this dev talk, not because it wasn't discussed, but because we went to far greater detail, and we decided that it could have a whole nother discussion on its own. So I just want to bring that up though while we're talking about this, since it's already been brought up. Just keep in mind, incentive is a huge thing when it comes to anything business wise, whether it be a game, whether it be a store. If the value does not exceed or equal the cost, you're gonna lose customers, and that works for anything in life, whether it's time, whether it's money. The value needs to match the cost. And that's my soliloquy.
Yeah, that is 100% right answer. And since I understand the both sides are coming from, it makes it even harder for me to give an answer. Cause yeah, since April I played Student 3 almost 24 hours a day, yeah, while I'm working and while I'm like analyzing chart. Between time to time, I log into game and play with the players and also play for the tournament. And I know that we need to change. We need to change our whole business models for the more player friendly. But yeah, the organization like companies with bigger size always need the statistics to change their moves. You understand what I mean? Like they need numbers, they need chart, they need verification for moving there and changing their opinions,
I
change their
mean, I mean,
thinking.
okay, you know what? You
I
kind
get
of
that.
you woke up the devil
I
here
get
when you
that.
said charts and all that stuff because speaking of charts, we can go on about that. I do have some examples here. I did not bookmark them right now just because I didn't think we are going to get into them for this discussion, but we do
I
have,
can
for
talk while
example,
you look for them if you want.
no, I brought them up for my audience here.
Do you mind if I ask something quickly?
Go ahead.
So, Joy, do you know much about the Creator Crew program or no?
You mean the Joy City crew?
Yeah, for content
Yeah, create
creators
program.
to work
Yeah.
with. So there was a thing that was advertised saying that certain creators would be able to test out characters early. Do you have any explanation for that? Why that's not the case at the moment?
Uh, this is because like when it first started, there are like ideas for managing content creator by someone who take all the charge about managing content creators, but now the position is blank and we cannot fully assist the content creator to make their own videos and how can I say like mm, cannot support. Yeah, that is the simple answer. We cannot support all the content creators now.
I was gonna ask
We
something
have
along those lines because somebody in my chat did bring up the point that why did you guys stop making ads for the game? They mentioned that that's the reason why they actually started playing was because there was a professor ad that dropped for 3-on-3 and they thought was very enticing. And nowadays we just don't see as much marketing done for the game. That's something that I think if in tandem was produced with the events making a comeback. When I'm talking events, I'm talking beloved events, the ones that we mentioned, like Summer League, Winter League, or ranked awards being, showing a return. Like ranked awards, for example, is something that was removed that has nothing, uh, you know, you know, no logical explanation other than just removing a incentive to grind ranked mode. Like you don't get a tag anymore. The tag did nothing. You could argue that the Summer League and Winter League rewards maybe imbalance the amount of P points we started seeing people spend. That might be an argument you make for that end, but you can't say the same sort of thing for something like a name tag. Um, but
Mhm.
I did want to ask about the marketing that is kind of taking a hit. The last ad that I saw posted was recently for my career mode that made an appearance on PlayStation. But as far as a lot of major ads like that, there has been a very dry spell for a while. I'm gonna assume, Joy, the reason that that is the case is because, as you alluded to, some positions have not been filled, and the people who are maybe responsible for that aren't there, or their responsibilities, their work descriptions have shifted.
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. Um. Anyways, I'm not gonna hark too long on anything else here. I did want to make a point though. When you mentioned charts, Joy, I think this is funny. This was a point that I was going to bring up for a future dev talk, but we're bringing it up now, so whatever. When you said charts, if we look at the Steam
Yep.
chart, which is not if you're watching my stream, I put a
Yeah, I'm not
link.
watching this.
I put a
Yep.
link in the description there for anybody tuning in, and I'm also displaying it on my screen right now. Um, this is not an extensive list because PC players are a very small portion. They're the minority of players on this game, obviously. Um, but it's a good indicator, regardless of how the game has been trending in terms of player base. Now, looking at the Steam charts, if we go all time max, you can see right around when crossplay was introduced and Ultimate Edition came out, July 2021, you received your all time peak in players. Now, why was that? You had a lot of reason to play the game. Not only was it introducing a whole lot of new and exciting features like crossplay, was brand new to the game, but you had something like Ultimate Edition, which I will speak on my personal experience, was the thing that got me to spend my first dollar ever on a free to play game, was spent on Ultimate Edition because up until that point, I never, ever spent a dime on a free to play game. But at that point, when you guys dropped something like Ultimate Edition, I looked at the value and the cost and I said, that's worth the cost. And you guys were able to incentivize me to spend. Now, that is something that enticed a lot of players, as we see here on this chart. You got a lot of players playing the game right around that time in that month. It was your all-time peak. It dropped off significantly right after, though. Now you can say, because of this dip, um, we kind of started to worry and started discussing changes as time went on. But even as time went on, there was another peak that came back not too long ago. It doesn't necessarily match the exact peak from before, uh, but it was just last year, and it was the second highest number of players we saw recorded on Steam in this game. It was just last year, in June 2025. Now, here's my point. Nothing much really changed from then and now other than things being removed. A lot of things got removed from 2021 to 2025. And when we talk about things that got introduced, it's always been characters. Always been that consistently has never switched. It's always characters, new characters, new characters. We get that. But why did we see another peak happen here just last year around June 2025 when for years before didn't really have too drastic of a too drastic of an increase. Yeah, there were 300 players here and there. You had 400 players at one point one summer in June 2023, but last year there was something that came into effect that brought a lot of players back. And my point, my argument that I'll say to you, Joy, is something like Summer League is the exact thing that incentivizes players, that brings these players back. And when it's gone, you see that happen. You see that decrease in player base being reflected in the charts. So anytime there's an incentive, something like Ultimate Edition, something like Summer League, you see increases in players just on the Steam page itself. This is public information. All of you can look at. Um, Now, what you do during these hot spots of the year, these hot zones, it's on you. It's on the company. This is time that can be used to spend marketing, hosting tournaments, pushing new and different events that hook people in. Because let's get one thing, not let's not get one thing confused. New characters will come and go, regardless. Like we will have plenty of new characters in the future. There will be plenty of options for us to spend our resources in. But right now, there aren't anything. There's not enough quests, enough stuff to actually grind for to get those resources in the first place. You don't have enough incentive there. You've taken stuff out and now you see another decline in player base. Well, the simple solution is bring things back, watch the player base increase, and me, Mountain D Money and Pay worked up a lot of solutions, a lot of specific uh, result oriented solutions for these problems, stuff that you can implement that we think would do wonders, not just from a business aspect, but from a player aspect, incentivizing players to stay. That is my point on that. I just wanted to say, hey, if you're talking charts, well, even charts suggest that when you had Ultimate Edition, when crossplay was just introduced and a lot of things were brand new, you had a peak at that time. When Summer League was a thing, you had a peak even then. We're not seeing those peaks any other time when there are not incentives in the game. So the solution, at the very least, I can make this argument with proof. The solution is not removing things. That's a fact. That's a fact that we can see because when things are added in and things are there, that's when we see an increase in player count. And you need players at the end of the day to have customers.
All right. Okay. I really want to like quit from Joy City and want to be player based position, but yeah, TVM, all the word you told to me is 100% right answer, and I'm huge and totally understand and also second on that. But yeah, it is really difficult problem, which is because I cannot show all the informations which we are like watching and analyzing internally. So yeah, a lot of players are leaving Student 3, and also I know that the reason is simple, because the rewards were gone. The rewards were like vanished. Is that right?
Yeah, pretty
Pretty
much.
much.
Yep.
Yeah. I really have the same opinions of you guys, because I'm also a player, and when I was like playing without any support from the company, like I try to close my account same as other like who like free to play players, and I acknowledge that this game cannot enjoying cannot how can I cannot relish with the free to playing, and also not just a small amount of the money, but need a huge amount of money to enjoy it. So yeah,
And time.
mm,
Keep that in mind.
Yeah,
It's not
that's
just
good.
money, but it's also time. The amount of time that's required
yeah,
to
time too.
invest,
Mm,
and the menial amount of rewards that are given for that time invested, it just makes people want to turn their backs and walk away. So, from a business perspective, this is actually the opposite direction that we should be moving in. We should be looking to add things that players want to spend their time, spend their money on, not removing things. That's not the solution. Anywhere you look in the real world where, you know, things were removed as an attempt to increase incentive, a lot of times that failed. And it's basic nature. So let's keep that
yes,
in mind when it comes to time and money. You have to make these feel valued and appreciated with rewards. So I appreciate your time, Joy.
I'll
yeah.
even
So
if you don't mind, let me real quick just to add on to that. Even from a company perspective, I guess like in a perfect world, of course, we would like to have winter and summer league back. But even if we can't get that, even if we can just get summer league back, because that's pretty much you got a whole new player base that's just sitting at home not doing anything, like Brian because he don't work. Um, you got a whole player base that's online 24/7 during the summer, and then even if we don't get winter league back, you can use that for the holidays to push marketing, push your sales. There was an event once. It used to come around the week of Thanksgiving where they used to, for doing the dailies, you got like 10 points every day just for completing your dailies. Most of y'all probably don't even remember that, but that used to come around every that week of Thanksgiving. That event used to always come around, and even during that time, the winter, you still have a player base that's going to be home, not for as long, of course, during the summer, but you can always use that time. People are already in holiday mood to push more sales on us during that time. Like I'm at the end of the day, I get it. The company's not making money, then we don't have a game. So I understand it has to be a happy medium, some type of balance where the players want to play, and you also have people. You have things that people actually want to spend their money on. But like T was saying, it's just getting to a point to where it just pull out. It feels like we're just snatching everything away, and you're throwing, like Mountain said earlier, you're throwing a paid solution at us. And I know the company is feeling that. I know the company is feeling that.
okay.
Back.
Yeah. Is there anyone who want to add more opinions for about that?
Um,
I have a few points I wanted to make up.
you go pay.
Wanted to go. My first point, um, is obviously going back to what T was saying earlier, with the rank mode system. I will say back then the rank mode system was obviously a lot more rewarding, like everything else was in the game at that time. But now it's kind of just gotten to the point to where you're playing to get free stuff, only coins, like P points. And back then, it felt so much better to get any sort of reward above S rank. If you got S rank, even you were getting 150 points, I believe, just for getting S rank, playing a little bit, grinding here and there. You didn't have to stress to get a bunch of points. Even for triple S, you were getting one of the only things that you weren't even able to get anymore now. You were getting trophies, you were getting crowns, you were getting tags, and a bunch more P that you can't get anymore. And that's what made ranked in my opinion. You were working for the highest reward you can possibly get. you were grinding, spending all that time going against comp players, trying your hardest to get the rewards that actually made getting triple S or double S or S even worth it. And I feel like those rewards being taken out kind of ruins the point of ranked mode in a way, because those rewards you were getting were just so special and you're never able to get those ever again.
Hmm.
Even for the pets, honestly. Like the pets you would get from rank mode were some of the best pets and are some of the best pets that help your characters in this game today. And I feel like that being stripped from rank mode completely just makes a lot of players not even want to try to play ranked anymore.
Especially with the way the penalty system is now. It feels more like a it feels more like a minimum wage 9 to 5 job just to get S rank in rank now.
Exactly.
I want to stress
And
this also, just to interrupt slightly, right? I myself, along with a lot of players, feel more frustration than enjoyment while playing the game. The game is supposed to be entertaining. Like, a lot of us, and I know a lot of my friends who used to play back in 2023, right, quit out of frustration. That is something that a game should not be making a player feel emotionally, right? Like, I think you understand this, right? Games are supposed to be hobbies, right? They're supposed to be for enjoyment, not just induce stress, like with the ranking system that D was saying.
exactly.
That's all
Yeah.
for it.
Yeah.
That is really important point for the game. We have to, we need a point for enjoying, because without it, game is nothing. And I want to say this for you guys. Like, I feel like we've covered so many things today that main point may be getting a bit blurred. How about like keeping it next and the other time? Like keep talking about it, going again, like actually,
For
because
sure. I was just going to touch on that point, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I was just going to say a lot of these points that we talked about after our document here, the topics that were on that document, a lot of these points were already discussed between us four, but the thing is, we decided to put them off for a later date, for a later dev talk, because as you expressed, Joy, there's so much to talk about. There's a lot of points that we can go on. So for
Yeah,
the
there was a lot we left off. A lot we left off.
for the for the
Mhm.
sake of time and clarity, to make sure that this dev talk doesn't end up being too confusing on its own, like what did we talk about? The stuff that is in the document is the main points and the main issues that we wanted to address for this document. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and clean that document up. I'm going to make a view only mode that anybody in the audience can watch. I'm going to post it in a discussion or even in this description for this video. I'm going to make a discussion post. I'm going to post it for you guys. I'm going to also put in the description so anybody can view at a later date. And then Joy, I'll also send it to you once it's all tidy and cleaned up, including the second half that we didn't quite get to. I want to make sure that the points that we made today aren't lost in the mix. So a lot of the stuff we talked about is strictly relating to some skills, some specific skills, which we came up with solutions to. Um, Bugs and glitches, stuff that we wanted to highlight, that it's such an important and crucial aspect of the game that it needs to take priority over new content, for example. And then the game economy, so that was a huge part of what a lot of people are calling the pay to win system. That addresses a lot of that. So making sure that that sort of thing, that sort of stuff is highlighted for this dev talk. um, I'll be fixing up the document and making sure that that is posted and published for all people to see. um, in terms of this dev talk,
First.
I think we are good to end it on this note here. I think it's been very constructive. We've obviously went to a lot of detail on a lot of points, but I don't want to drag it on too far. Is there anything that D Money, Mountain, or Pay you guys wanted to say here before I pass the mic off to Joy and let him have the final remarks?
Nothing.
Um,
For
I
me, But you can go ahead, Pay, if you got something. Go
I
ahead.
think you're chilling. You're chilling. I was gonna close it off.
Oh, all right. Well, for me personally, again, personally, thank you, Joy, for your time. Greatly appreciate it, and for you guys hosting it. Thank you to my cohorts for bringing this all together. I ain't had nothing to do, so but I appreciate it. This was fun. This is definitely an experience. Two things for me, Joy. Just whenever you get some time, just whenever you feel like you can find it in your heart to do these two things for me. Number one, Nerf Ox Queen. Just whenever you find time, Nerf Ox Queen.
Boo.
Um, Number two,
Boo.
second thing. Now this is just specifically for me. When you guys go into my account, can you go under my big dog and just give him 255 on all his stats for like the
All right.
rest of the year?
All right.
Like I'm not trying to be too greedy.
Joy.
I don't need it to be permanent, but just for the rest of the year, give him 255 on all his stats, and I'm
Yeah,
good.
I'm a
good.
little new to Discord. How do you deafen someone?
Yo,
Can somebody mute this guy, bro?
I'm really thanks for the money that you make our like atmosphere really, how can I say, easier, and we can deal with the problem as a more happily. And really thanks for your jokes, or it was not a joke.
The big dog and ox queen thing was not a joke.
It was definitely a joke. It was 100%
Okay,
a
guys.
joke.
That was not
Especially
a
the
joke.
Ox Queen part. The Ox Queen part
The
was like
ox, the ox,
100% a joke. He
I'm
knows
dead.
that's a joke.
Like just
Okay,
like I have a specific nerf for Ox Queen, and it's nothing too dramatic. If anything, just
Yeah,
take her
he just
3 point
want to
stat.
cut off her head. That's all he
Nah,
wanted to do. It was nothing
just
crazy.
take her 3 point stat and just drop it to like a solid 50, and I'm cool with that. Just drop her 3 point
W
stat to a
Luther.
solid 50, and you can keep everything else the way it is. But the big dog 255 on all his stats now, just for my account. Damn
okay,
everybody else, just my account. I'm
I
cool with that.
promise. I promise you, I try my best to tell the devs about that, and then I don't know what kind of answers they will be, but I think they say something like, "Who is the crazy guy asking about that?" I'm sure like they don't think about much about the players' balance in these days. So I try my best to tell the reason why you ask about that and what kind of problems Oxkin had, and also Big Dog's balance too. Yeah, I promise.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Just bring it up to him. Just run it by him. Just be like, hey, look, even if you can't do the Ox Queen thing, just let me get that 255 on all big dog stats. Like every one of his stats, 255, and I'm cool.
Okay, okay. And for the end call, the last thing I want to say is I don't want to end this session just for today. So I really want to hear and answer every week or like every month. If you guys have any documents or opinions with clarified of all the community members, and not just all the like, or your personal opinion is okay too, just send it to me and I will clear it and summarize it to the other team members of Australian 3 and talk with them, and also bring the exact answer to you guys at the next time if you guys want.
Perfect. So that's what I was
Alright.
about to say here. We will have dev talks in the future. I think what we will do is make it a monthly thing. For the next one, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna announce a date or anything anytime soon here. I just want to give us some time to, you know, to recollect, take a break, and actually formulate our ideas fully before we announce anything. Because this one was kind of put together and rushed last minute,
Yeah.
so I want to make sure we are all good on the same page and ready to go. We know exactly what we're going to address for the future. But yes, definitely making this
100%.
something that is a recurring event is in all of our interests. And we thank you again for your time, Joy. I know you're the only one in in the entire company who's really working on the weekends, so I appreciate it. I will be sending you the document
Yep.
again once it's all clean, tidied, something that you can show to your team over at Joycity. I'll be making some adjustments there. And for the audience members, thank you guys all for tuning in. That document that I'm talking about, the Google Doc that we were reading off of for half the stream, that will be posted later that you can all view, and at any time at a later date, if you want to see exactly the points that we made and the adjustments that we suggested. If there are any questions, comments, or
Yes.
concerns, I will be posting a discussion topic in my discussion post rather on my YouTube page for any of you who want to bring up your own comments, questions, or anything else that you want to say. I believe Mountain,
I had one
for
more
his
thing.
channel, he might do the same. So go ahead, Pay.
Um, Obviously, what TBM and D Money said, I want to formally thank you for coming out and actually showing how much you care about the game. We all know it's not easy for you to consistently do this and always make time for it, but it really shows that you care, especially for a relatively small game like this. And yeah, it's very good on your end to show that you actually want to help out the community, and we all appreciate you 100%. I had one thing that I did want to ask for. It's gonna be pretty crazy. Actually, not really, but I miss where the map was a map when you loaded into the game and were able to start playing and stuff and going to your characters. I feel like that was so perfect, and that like honestly changed my mind about the game completely. Like that aesthetic alone was so much different from a lot of other games I've played before that were basketball related, and I just like that a lot, honestly. So I feel like y'all should bring back the map for playing and all that stuff like that.
I think that's something that we could probably touch up upon like different sections of the map with 3x3, but later discussion.
Yes, definitely. But thank you, Pay. And Mountain,
Of course.
the mic hasn't been passed to you in quite some time, and you have probably the largest audience out of all of us right now at this current moment. You're live streaming. Do you want to say anything before we wrap this up?
I don't want to hold too much of GM's Joy's time. Like, I have a note here. I don't know if he's looking at my stream, right? That I will be bringing up later on. But I want to say this: if you have any questions or any confusion between what we were saying or what is presented in the document, please feel free to ask us. I'd be more than happy personally to go more in depth or just answer any questions you may have. That's about it.
Alrighty, perfect. Let's wrap this up because it's been quite some time now. And without further ado, I thank you all for tuning in. Whether it was for the whole thing or 5 minutes, 1 minute, doesn't matter to me. Appreciate each and every single one of you audience members who tuned in. To GM Joy again, we extend our gratitude because you've obviously shown that you care about the game and the community at large. You're willing to put your time on your own weekends, on your off days, if there's such a thing. You're willing to give your own time for us, so we appreciate it. To my four co-hosts, I will say or three co-hosts rather. I will say thank you guys, D Money, Mountain, and Pay. Especially you two, D Money and Mountain. You guys spent a whole lot of time, with me and the voice calls and Mountain even today right before our stream. We did a lot of work, so I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you for tuning in, and that's all from me. Peace out. Is there anything you wanted to say, Joy? Maybe goodbye in
Yeah,
Korean.
I have. Yeah, not. I will say goodbye in Korean at the end of my word, and I really appreciate all of you guys using your private like time for Joy City and 303, because I know the precious time of all the like people have, and you guys already consumed that for us. So I try my best to reply and showing the action to change the students to be better than now. Thank you. Yep.
You're welcome.
Okay.
네.
Cool.
네.
I'm gonna
네,
I'm
감사합니다.
gonna I'm gonna end my stream right now.